When you hear this,
they've got him again!
And this,
He scored!
And this,
oh boy, what a move by Embiid!
You think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. The day before Thanksgiving, it is, in my opinion, the best holiday of the year. We are live here in the Matt Black Kia Studios. What a wild ride the last 4 hours have been for Mike Gill and the folks over there at Vagabonds and EHT 99 Bottles. Great turnout, incredible everything going on over there. Congratulations to all the winners. But we got some stuff to talk. We got a lot of football to talk about because tomorrow is the beginning of NFL Week 12 with 3 games on Thanksgiving. So that means we're going to dive deep into the Eagles and the NFL schedule today. Andy McNamara from Sportsnet joins us every Thursday to talk NFL and fantasy football. He'll join us today to talk about it with 3 games tomorrow and then the rest of the games this Sunday. Of course, you can get all the triple header action tomorrow right here on 97.3 ESPN. Lions versus Bears, followed by Cowboys and Raiders, followed by the Saints and the Bills with no Alvin Kamara. He's already been ruled out for the game tomorrow. So a lot of football going on tomorrow. And, of course, we'll give you some thoughts and picks a little bit later in the show. Brought to you, my friends, over at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Bet all the action style this holiday season in the state-of-the-art FanDuel Sportsbook just off the boardwalk at Bally's, Atlantic City. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Our little Eagles news came out earlier today. No, I'm not talking about them signing Mac McClain because at the end of the day, nobody cares. You re-signed a guy that you just cut recently. Big whoop-de-doo. Nobody cares. What we do care about is the injury report. And the one name I think we're all going to keep an eye on all week long is going to be Darius Slay. Darius Slay, they're hoping will be good to go. He's in the concussion protocol right now. The good news is it's Wednesday. You still have a few days to get through the process, work everything out, try to get it all lined up. But I got to tell you guys, this game on Sunday will be extremely different without Darius Slay. I am not going to undersell his value. I am not going to be one of these people who's going to get up on the radio and try to downplay the seriousness of the situation. I understand there are some blowhards out there that all they care about is offense because they're basically small-minded people. Darius Slay, you could make a contention, is in the conversation to be an NFL All-Pro this year and maybe even be a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year. So let's be realistic. You have a situation where if Darius Slay is not playing, I don't have a ton of confidence the Eagles win the game. Not because I think the Giants are great, but because we've seen what Jonathan Gannon does when Slay is not on the field. Now, when we get to the offseason, we're going to have a deep conversation about what the Eagles are doing with their defense moving forward. Because for whatever reason, Jonathan Gannon calls a different defense when Darius Slay is not out there, which to me means he doesn't trust the rest of the corners enough. And Steven Nelson has not been elite this year. He's been solid. He's been serviceable. He's an average starting NFL corner, okay? But you need better than that. He's a stopgap. You're going to have to go out and get another legitimate corner, whether it's through a trade, whether it's through free agency. And there's not really an elite corner in the draft this year. It's not like this past year. Like this past year when you had guys like I just forgot his name. Patrick Surtain from Alabama. There we go. When you had guys like Horn from South Carolina and Asante Samuel Jr. from Florida State and others, there was about 5-6 corners in this year's draft that just passed that were like starters in the NFL day one and will be even better as the years progress. You don't have that elite level of corners in the 2022 draft in terms of projections. Right now, according to all the mock drafts, almost none of them have a corner in the top 10. And the corner they might have in the top 10 is really not elite. So I can't tell you that the Eagles need to go out and they need to get a corner in the draft. And that will make up for Steven Nelson, because I understand there's a lot of people out there who are infatuated with Derek Stingley. I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, guys. I think Stingley's overrated. I think Stingley is a good football player. I don't think he's elite at anything. He's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of guy. He's one of those players who at some point is probably going to have to transition to safety, because I don't think he has the elite athletic tools that a guy like J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain had coming out of college. The second best corner many people believe is Ahmad Gardner. Good, not great. There's a lot of debate about how good Gardner could be at the NFL level, because when you're judging his tape, he's not going against elite talent week in and week out in the AAC conference with Cincinnati. Booth has had a down year for Clemson. McDuffie, down year for Washington. And they fired the man who recruited him, Coach Jimmy Lake, over there in Washington. So Washington's defense down. He's down. I know Martin Emerson, he's a good corner. But if you draft him right now, I don't know if he's starting tomorrow. And then the final guy people keep talking about is Roger McCreary from Auburn. I think McCreary has the potential. Him and Kyer Elam have the potential to be the best two corners in this draft. But I don't think either one of those guys is going to be leaps and bounds better day one next year, week one next year, than what Steven Nelson is right now. So when you look at the draft, I don't know if you're going to find that corner across from Slay, but you better find somebody, because for whatever reason, and I don't understand why Gannon is so, I don't even know what the word is. He's so ball and chained to Darius Slay that he can't adapt without him. Like, you lean on a guy that much that you can't function and do anything without him. It's just so strange to me. I don't understand it, but that's the real concern for me moving forward. My greatest concern is what happens if Darius Slay cannot play this week. I think that if Slay plays, the Eagles win by 10 points minimum. I think the Giants, I don't care that Freddie Kitchens is the OC. I think the Giants defense is a Fugazi. I think they're fraudulent. I think that they have talent on the defensive line, but that talent has done nothing this year. I documented this yesterday. Their defense has allowed a ton of rushing yards this year. You're going from a Saints team that was one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL statistically to a Giants team that you go down their season and they're getting blown up by running games. So I don't care who's on the defensive line. The evidence on the field tells me that the names on the roster don't match the production on the field. So I'm not worried about the Giants defense. I am worried about the Giants offense, because Freddie Kitchens or Jason Garrett, it doesn't matter. Daniel Jones, he's not great, but he's not a bum. Daniel Jones, he's not peak Eli Manning, and I don't think he'll ever be peak Eli Manning. but he does throw the same number of interceptions as Eli Manning. So, you know what? To me, what do you have to worry about? You have to worry about the receivers. And the Giants have shown you this year that when Kenny Golladay and Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram, when all those guys are healthy, and Kadarius Toney has had explosive plays this year, they can get up and down the field. You saw in the Bucs game, right? You saw them have moments. That's why Darius Slay is important. Because if no Darius Slay is out there, I'll tell you right now, Avonte Maddox will get burned if you ask him to play the outside. If it's Zach McPherson, he will get burned because he's just not experienced enough yet, especially on a double move. I feel like right now McPherson is still susceptible to the zigzag routes and the double moves. So no Slay means tough game for Eagles. And that's the name you guys got to watch out for as we head down the stretch. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Of course, we are live on YouTube at 973 ESPN. You can chime into the show through the text board at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app. It's free for you to download thanks to First Bank of Seattle City, also on the 973 ESPN mobile app and 973ESPN.com. My latest on the latest bandwagon, the national media. They're starting to jump on the Eagles bandwagon. Who's the latest person to stake their flag and say, I'm buying the Eagles stock? Well, you can check it out on the 973 ESPN mobile app and over at 973ESPN.com. And I got to be honest with you guys, I don't know if 100% agree with the guy. I think it's a little convenient. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I actually like the show that is talking about the Eagles this week a lot that I highlight in the article. I love the show. I watch Good Morning Football all the time. But the person on the show who's staking their claim, it's interesting. Let's just put it that way. So we'll get to a lot more NFL throughout the show. Andy McNamara from Sportsnet will join us coming up. We will get into fantasy football. We have 3 games tomorrow. So people are going to want to know, who should you play tomorrow? Who should you not play tomorrow? Do you trust the Thursday game? You know, the Bears-Lions game, for all intents and purposes, is going to be a lousy game, right? It's not going to be aesthetically pleasing. So I don't expect that game to go very well for anybody playing anything. Fantasy football, regular football, whatever your interest is. So to me, I look at that game and I say, you know what? If I don't have to play anybody, I don't. But we'll ask Andy McNamara to dive deeper into that coming up on the other side right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. The 97.3 ESPN mobile app is free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And we're live on YouTube at 973 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig at Josh Hennig on Twitter. More football coming up next here on Game Night.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
The Flyers are in Florida to take on the Panthers.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
This month, Bennett Chevy starts the bidding on trades at $7,000. Yes, Bennett will give you a minimum $7,000 for any old clunker you can push, pull, or tow towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And remember, we'll buy yours even if you don't buy ours. And if we start at $7,000 for junk, how much more do you think we'll pay for a good running vehicle? Grab your title or payment book and get the absolute most for your trade today. Want a brand new vehicle? While others are charging a fortune for new vehicles, Bennett still rejects any opportunity to charge 1 penny over MSRP. Stuck in a lease? Bennett can get you out early, all makes and models. So come see what your vehicle's worth today at Bennett, where there's absolutely no obligation and no pressure, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new rows at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
And the free mobile app.
Wednesday edition of Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN, the day before Thanksgiving. And of course, the NFL Triple Header you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 12 o'clock tomorrow. So today, we're going to talk NFL with Sportsnet Andy McNamara and his appearance here on 97.3 ESPN, being brought to you by Jim Malamet at Green Tree Mortgage. Your best play to refinance today, as with Jim Malamet at Green Tree Mortgage. Proud sponsor of Fantasy Football Talk with Sports' Andy McNamara here on 97.3 ESPN. And as you see him joining us on YouTube at 97.3 ESPN. Andy, football tomorrow. How you doing?
I am doing well, my man. Happy Thanksgiving to you, to all the, my American listeners, followers, and all that. Happy Thanksgiving. Can't wait for the football.
I always laugh when you say stuff like that because people forget that you're in Canada, but you actually are from Cleveland. So it's like this like strange irony when you say stuff like that.
Right. It's something, Josh, where when you look at the Thanksgiving day, and it's just like you can just pop yourself down. You can enjoy it. It's the start of sort of the holiday season. I just wish, I don't know about you, don't you kind of wish that the first game wasn't Bears-Lions? I know you have to with tradition to a certain degree. But especially this year. Oh, that's a tough one.
But it's okay. It's like in the past. Like, how many times have you watched the first game? You're like, I know it's the Lions, but the other team is good, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or in the past when there was, Stafford and Megatron versus some other team that has no defense as well. So you might get like a 35-32 kind of game. Or now it's Jared Goff might play. He might not play. Andy Dalton's supposed to start. I mean, I haven't seen this many questions about Darnell Mooney the entire year by people. And like people are like, right. I gotta and it's like, oh my gosh. Like if your biggest problem in life is you have to start Darnell Mooney, your fantasy team stinks.
It's true. I know. It's not there's really it's just an unappealing appetizer. You bring it out for Thanksgiving and it's just, I don't know, cold something. You're like, oh, I don't want I know the turkey's going to be good, but these rolls are dry. I don't want this. This is no good. Right. Like Tim Boyle could play again. Like Josh, I saw him play the Browns last week. Like terrible. I don't understand how the man even got an NFL tryout with his college record. What was it? 12 touchdowns, 26?
Well, what happens is that, you guys like Tim Boyle, this is just a sidetrack, I know. Guys like Tim Boyle get jobs, Andy, because they're the ones who are really good at understanding the playbook. And they're the one in the quarterback room explaining to the other quarterbacks the playbook. So the team thinks they're serviceable. And they're like, hey, maybe we have next Chase Daniel. And it's like, dude, Chase Daniel threw for like 6,000 yards in college at Missouri. Tim Boyle is not Chase Daniel.
No.
So, but these teams think they're always going to find the next Chase Daniel. And it's like, dude, if that's where you are in life, your evaluation process is all wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Tim Boyle sucks. I'm sorry, Tim Boyle. I'm sorry, Tim Boyle listeners. He's terrible. He's a terrible quarterback.
What's even worse is that last week leading up to the game, Tim Boyle wasn't on the Lions roster on the website. It was still David Blau. Some imbecile listed Blau instead of Boyle on the depth chart. You know how insignificant Boyle is? The own team's website messed it up.
And if you're David Blau, don't you feel like absolute garbage? Like absolute garbage. They're like, nah, we're gonna try Boyle. It's like, excuse me? Like how are you?
It's like, listen, you're a Browns fan.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys went through so many like horrible quarterbacks over the years. And it's like at one point you're wondering, is Kelly Holcomb our future quarterback? And then a few years later you get Brady Quinn and you're like, I'd rather have Kelly Holcomb. And then you get Johnny Manziel and you're like, where's Seneca Wallace, right?
Wallace, yes.
And then you draft Deshaun Kaiser and you're like, what happened to Derek Anderson? Like,
where's Colt McCoy?
Right. It's like, well, Colt McCoy's playing well for the Cardinals right now. So
He'll
it's
play
like
forever.
But the point is that like these teams go through quarterbacks sometimes, and you're just like, I always tell Eagle fans, like, you don't understand what quarterback purgatory is unless you're like a team like a Lions fan or a Bears fan or the Vikings fans after Brett Favre. You know what I mean? Like, people don't understand how bad it is unless you are watching all the games like you and I do, or you're playing fantasy football and you go to the waiver wire and you realize you have one guy on IR and one guy on a bye week. And you're like, ooh,
what do I do now? I'll tell you what you do this week. You go get Tyrod Taylor. That's where we're at.
Right?
That's where we're at. For real. Tyrod, I put in my article every Tuesday on sportsnet.ca, Josh. I put, if you are desperate, and you better be if you're playing Tyrod Taylor, look what the guy can do. He can give you legs. He's not going to turn the ball over likely. He's super conservative, but he can always scamper one in. It's a good matchup this week. Tyrod Taylor, if you are without options, look at the guys on bye this week, right? You got Mahomes and Murray if he was going to play or whatever. Tyrod Taylor isn't the craziest play this week. Him and Cam Newton you can at least see a path to them having a good fantasy day. Whereas Tim Boyle, he's not on the path at all. There's no path for Tim Boyle. Or it's just terrible.
There's no path.
There's no path for Tim Boyle.
Andy, I got a couple of listener questions they want to jump in here. Obviously, a lot of people are getting close to the postseason. So, first of all, on the text board at 609-403-0973, Joey D. and Ventnor chimes in. All right. Now, you're going to have to hear the whole thing out because this is a very detailed question.
Okay.
All right. He is in a half-point PPR league. He needs one tight end and one flex.
Okay.
Here are his options. Gronk, Tyler Johnson from the Jets, Pat Freiermuth, and he says, no, I can start two tight ends, one a flex, one a tight end, but he wants to know what he should do with those three guys.
Gronk for sure. We're putting Gronk in 100%. If he's healthy, he's playing. Call me crazy. I don't mind Ty Johnson, man. He's been looking pretty good. He's been looking, especially with Michael Carter banged up. That's not a bad play. But I also like Pat Freiermuth with the Steelers. I'm saying Gronk for sure. Let's go Freiermuth here. Let's go. It's just such a mouthful of a name. It's just Freiermuth. It doesn't roll. Go Muth, whatever. He has been a real go-to for Ben Roethlisberger. So I think you go double tight ends.
I was thinking the double tight end as well because this one reason, as long as Big Ben is playing, Freiermuth could get targets.
Yep.
If it's Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, I'd be concerned about you. But it's Ben out there right now. I think Freiermuth is an option. And listen, I heard one person try to tell me this week that you can't trust Gronk because he's been injured. And I'm like, did you watch Monday night?
He's back for now. He could always get injured. Think about it this way, Josh. Look how long he was out, okay? That's not by accident. I bet you Gronk, if it was some sort of important game, could have played before. They're holding Gronk off for the playoff stretch. We're in late November. This is the time Gronk plays from now through to the Super Bowl. He's ready. He's healthy. He's rested. At this point in his career, you rest Gronk. I would, unless he gets re-injured, you fire Gronk up without hesitation every single week.
Oh, and it was a ribs injury too. It wasn't like he ripped up his knee or
his back or something. Yeah.
Or like the Titans are hoping that, Derrick Henry has a Jones fracture. They're expecting him back by January. And I'm thinking that's the fastest Jones fracture heal I've ever heard of.
No kidding. And I know if the Titans make the playoffs, which looks like they will, and get back, you want your stud back, but man, you rush back your franchise guy, something else could really go wrong. I would be skeptical, of course, to see if he actually comes back.
Andy McNamara joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, a day early as we have triple header NFL action tomorrow on Thanksgiving Thursday. You can follow Andy on Twitter for all your NFL and fantasy football analysis at AndyMC81. Another listener message here over on YouTube says, trading away Christian McCaffrey for Henderson and Fournette, good or bad?
For Henderson and Fournette. Not the craziest deal. I understand because, it seems like CMC is in that re-injured sort of stage of his career where he could go down at any time. I understand the question. You know what? I don't hate the deal. It depends what type of league. Like if you're in a keeper or something, if you can have something else thrown in, like it feels like maybe you need a bit of a sweetener, but all of a sudden, so you're taking the high-end RB1 and you're getting two either super high RB2s or back-end RB1s. So you have more depth. I would like to know who their other running back is right now. Tweet in or text, whatever, to fully answer the question. But as it is right now, I think I might look to do that deal because running backs are they're so rare. So if you get two of them, even if they don't have the top end of Christian McCaffrey with all the injury possibility, I think you might make that deal.
I like the Fournette in return because I feel like this is the time of year Fournette starts getting more touches.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and he's been really stepping up as the guy over Ronald Jones for a while.
I don't hate Henderson. I just don't love him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
I feel like Henderson is kind of in that point where, like, for example, there's a lot of people who picked up Mark Ingram when Kamara went down because they traded for him. Well, now Ingram is questionable for tomorrow. And it's like, I know Henderson is not injured right now, but I feel like he's an injury away from you regretting that deal.
Right. And here's the other tricky part. The Rams defense the last 2 weeks, what happened? And it's no coincidence that Henderson's fantasy production and real life production went down with that, just like everybody else on the Rams. From weeks 1 to 8, tremendous. Now you have the bye week. This is a calculated risk because what I'm thinking, you have the bye week, you recalibrate, you come out swinging, and the Rams are back. Sort of like how the Chiefs had that funk of 3 weeks and then they sorted themselves out.
Right.
That's going to be a question. If they come out and they're flat against Green Bay, in Green Bay, by the way, that's never a good thing, LA team going out that way. Not that it's going to bother Stafford being used to the cold. But that could be a risky play. It's a bit of a gamble. If they can get it sorted out, though, and Henderson can get back to those mid to high teens consistently, I think it's a nice pick.
Like, for example, and I'm glad you mentioned, it's kind of like the risk benefit analysis going on.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I submitted a trade in my league. So I found somebody who has a much worse record than me in my fantasy league. That's what I usually do. If I'm competing, I find someone's got like a 3-8 record to see who's on the roster, right? So I submitted a trade. I'm trying to trade Tim Patrick for Melvin Gordon because I need running back help. I desperately need running back help. And I'm at the point where I want to keep Tim Patrick, but you have to give up something to get something. And I saw that I'm looking at his roster. I'm like, he needs wide receiver help. Like, because he has it outside in this league, 8 teams make it. So at 3-8, he still has a chance of getting in. So my theory is if I give him something of value, I'm more likely to get something of value in return.
Right.
So, because what I did was, when I saw Adrian Peterson was cut, I dropped Adrian Peterson and picked up Elijah Moore, right?
Great pick.
I cut somebody else. I picked up Brandon Ayuk, right? So what I did was I stockpiled my receivers so I can trade Tim Patrick kind of thing.
Smart.
So to me, when you make trades in fantasy, whether it is Christian McCaffrey for this deal, this guy I mentioned about Fournette and Henderson, or it's another deal, Andy, to me, it's always about, all right, what am I giving up? Am I giving up something the other guy wants? And how do I cover my rear in case this doesn't work out?
That is a great strategy to have because if you do stockpile and you can have assets, because how many times in your fantasy league, folks, you get these, like most deals stink. Most deals are like, stop. Like you're just trying to, why did you even press send? Enough, right? But if you want to actually make a deal, you got it. Like you said, give up something to get it. So with a Tim Patrick, do you want to give him up? You don't. But if you have enough receivers, you can pop right in to upgrade a position of need. That's the whole point. And that's why I always recommend to people in your draft, get that second quarterback at some point to cover yourself off for bye weeks and also use as trade bait. Could be pretty valuable. In one of my leagues, I have Jalen Hurts and I have Dak Prescott. So I'm going to be looking to deal one of those. Tricky part is I'm not sure which one I want to deal. So I might just keep them both. But you add that type of depth and then you make those decisions. So I think I personally think that's a very fair deal if they need that type of production. And you get Melvin Gordon, who right now is still the go-to over Javonte Williams.
All right, let's get a couple more things before I let you go, Andy. One, Giants fire Jason Garrett.
Good.
Does that make any Giants players more valuable in fantasy, or are you saying a hold and wait?
So here's the thing. Freddie Kitchens takes over as offensive coordinator. Now, a little sign behind me here. Freddie Kitchens was the head coach of the Browns. Now, as a head coach and a play caller, as head coach, he was horrible for that half season when he took over as offensive coordinator when Hugh Jackson got fired. He was tremendous. He was loose. Now, I don't know the freedom that Joe Judge is going to give him. He had a pretty free reign in Cleveland, but he was creative. He got the pieces going. I think this is good news because I think Jason Garrett, he's just, it's like you just put it on the standard in Madden. It's just like, okay, what's the base play? What, you're not making any changes. You're always doing coach recommendations. It's always the same. That's Jason Garrett, right? There's nothing interesting. Freddie Kitchens, folks, will make stuff interesting. I think it ups the value of Daniel Jones. And I think it also does the wide receivers. The problem is we just don't know which one. Is it Kenny Golladay finally?
Well, are they going to stay healthy? Do they stay healthy?
Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, they can't stay healthy. But I do think it does give a boost to Daniel Jones. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Daniel Jones's average fantasy point output climb into like the 19 range currently from it's like 17. So I think he's moving up. I think it is a benefit.
Interesting. Now, I want to get hit on your Brownies as well because Baker didn't practice today. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to play on Sunday, but I think it's pretty obvious that the offense runs the passing game differently when it's Keenum versus Mayfield. And I know a lot of people, they got the guys like Jarvis Landry and Donovan Peoples-Jones, and they're looking at the receiver position and they're wondering, Andy, what do I do?
Yeah, guys, don't play Browns receivers. Straight up, don't do it. Landry as a flex, if you're maybe like he hasn't caught a touchdown this year. Jarvis Landry has not caught a touchdown. He's run into, he has not caught one. What you have to look at is what is this team built around? In the best of times, it's the running game. Kareem Hunt is expected back at some point. He's designated to return possibly this week, more likely after the bye. You're getting a right tackle Jack Conklin back as well. That is huge for the run game. Really, the only serviceable fantasy pieces on this team of any consistency are the running backs. Nick Chubb, RB1, Kareem Hunt when he comes back instantly, and then even Dearness Johnson in relief. He's been an okay flex. So with Baker, like his shoulder, the tear, the bone, the ankles busted, the knees busted, like he should not have played against Detroit. You should have had Case Keenum out there. If you don't think Case Keenum can win you a playoff game or a game, against the Lions as the highest paid backup in football, why is he on your roster? Mm-hmm. Why is he there? I was in Cleveland when I saw him beat the Broncos. That's what you have a high-end backup quarterback to do. He should have played against the Lions. You should have rested him up to play the Ravens. Now you didn't. So to me, what I would do, rest him against the Ravens. They haven't been they've been lucky or just squeaking ones out with Case Keenum in the running game. Rest Baker because you get the bye right after, and then the Ravens again and get him back healthy. I'll tell you this, folks, and it kills me to say it. If the Browns run out Baker Mayfield, how he has been the last couple weeks, they're going to get beat by 30 Sunday night. And I'm going to hate it every second of it. That's what's going to happen.
The NFL will hate that too, because that means they put a game on Sunday Night Football that was a dud. So
yeah, exactly. It's going to be rough.
Let's flip over to tight end here. You got two tight ends in New England. They're both limited at practice this week. I know tight end is a very thin position this year in fantasy football. What are you telling people about Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry?
Jonnu Smith is at this point unplayable, borderline unrosterable. Hunter Henry is the guy to go and stick with. The chemistry with Mac Jones keeps growing. Now you got to track the health for this week in particular. Over the rest of the season, Hunter Henry's the play. I'll tell people this too. He's available in about 48% of ESPN leagues. Logan Thomas is coming off of IR, folks. Okay, and you might forgot about him, but that's the type of pickup. If he's sitting there and people gave up on him, that's the type of pickup that can put you over the edge to make the playoffs and go on a deep playoff run. That's an instant playmaker and a TE1 you can get in your lineup for free if he's available. So take a look if Logan Thomas is out there.
All right, Andy, before I let you go, we do have a triple header of NFL action tomorrow. So give the audience an idea of who do you like tomorrow, whether it's DFS, whether it's regular season fantasy. Who are the thumbs up, thumb down guys tomorrow?
Yeah. So if we're looking DFS, if we're playing some DraftKings with Bear, we'll go match by match. But for Bears, Lions, for Bears, it's Darnell Mooney, 100%. We were talking about him before. The target share doesn't matter. He's definitely overtaken Allen Robinson, who's banged up, and for whatever reason, it's not working. So you're going starting Darnell Mooney, David Montgomery, obviously, Cole Kmet, back end tight end one. He's growing. I'm not super comfortable with him overall yet, but Cole Kmet for sure. For the Lions, it's only DeAndre Swift. If you have to play TJ Hawkinson, you do. But the passing game's almost dead, and Dan Campbell's going to run the ball like it's 1950s out there. He's definitely going to do that. So that's for Bears, Lions. For Raiders, Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, you're going to have to track this because Josh, beginning of the day, looked like he wasn't going to play. After practice today, he's still limited, but Dak Prescott says he looks awesome. So I like Michael Gallup as a flex.
He looks awesome in a walkthrough. It was a walkthrough.
Yes.
What am I from a walkthrough? Come on, Dak. It's so ridiculous.
He's trying to hype it up. So you know what? That's something to track because Amari Cooper out. If CeeDee Lamb doesn't play, Josh, you get Michael Gallup in that lineup. You get him in. I think Dalton Schultz has a nice day as well. Raiders, usual suspects. My boy Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Jacobs, and maybe Drake as a flex. And then for Bills, again, usual suspects for him. You're going Josh Allen. You're going Stephon Diggs. We're not doing running backs, folks. I get every week, Josh. Which Bills running back? The answer is none. The answer is none of the running backs. They cannot help your fantasy team. I'm sorry. They can't do it. You might want them to. I want a lot of things too. And I'm not going to get them, just like you're not going to get the Bills production for fantasy at running back. And then the Saints, Mark Ingram goes. It's him. Like maybe Deontay Harris. Like maybe. But that's it, man. Like it's weird. And Josh, real quick, what is with that Taysom Hill contract? What? It was actually one of the top. I looked this up. It was like the top rated search on Google for like 3 hours. Is the Taysom Hill contract real? That was the most searched.
Well, because first of all, this is the second contract extension he's gotten in the last few years.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you break down the details of the deal, basically he gets one set of salaries if he doesn't become the full-time starter. He gets another set of salaries if he does become. And I'm sitting there reading the details of this, and I'm thinking, so what you're telling me is you don't like Jameis Winston?
I guess.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't believe in Taysom Hill at this point. I don't trust him to stay healthy. He wasn't healthy in college. He hasn't been healthy in the NFL. I understand he's a gimmick gadget guy, but I feel like the Saints are just throwing money away at this point.
I don't understand it. One day we're going to get a movie or a book or some tell-all behind the scenes as to what information did Taysom Hill have on whoever in the organization to keep getting paid. Josh, even when the man is healthy, he is not a starting quarterback. He's a gimmick. Like you said, he's a gimmick. He's Tim Tebow.
He's a gimmick who can't stay healthy. At least Tebow is healthy.
Yes, he's Tebow without the pose. What is he doing? There's no... there is no explanation. And to think of the lawyer work, think of the man hours to put together a complicated deal. Why make the effort? I don't get it. I don't get it. Drives me nuts.
Oh my goodness. It's a good thing you're not a Saints fan.
Thank goodness. At least I'd have a Super Bowl.
You'd have won. And then you'd be 7-9 about 5 times.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'd rather the Cleveland nonsense. Makes life more entertaining.
He's boy. Andy McNamara from Sportsnet. Follow him on Twitter at AndyMC81 for your NFL and fantasy sports analysis. Don't forget 3 NFL games tomorrow, and then the rest are on Sunday. And of course, the show you got on Sunday.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll break down the Thursday games on sportsnet.ca. You can stream it there. Got the articles. And I'll tell you guys and your listeners, Josh, if you guys love sports NFTs, my UFFsports.com stuff we've talked about before, the NFT site is up. These are one-of-one, autographed, original art. You go to ultimatesportsnfts.com or UFFsports.com. Just give it a look. These are really cool. You got to check it out.
There you go. That's all the details you need. Andy, I appreciate you jumping on a day early. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Enjoy the football. And although you might get to a point, you need to switch over to the Egg Bowl tomorrow night instead of the NFL. So.
Yeah, I'd say we'll see what happens. Josh, happy Thanksgiving to you, your listeners, and everybody out there.
Take care, my friend.
See you later.
And of course, our conversation with Andy McNamara here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN being brought to you by Jim Malamet at Green Tree Mortgage. Your best play to refinance today. That's Jim Malamet at Green Tree Mortgage. All right. On the other side, I'll give you some football picks for Thursday. I'll give you my thoughts on a couple other things. And of course, I'll be back on Friday. I'm covering for Mike Gill. So we are doing the show leading you up to Flyers hockey on Black Friday. So I'll give you the full football weekend on Friday, but today I'll give you my football picks for Thursday coming up on the other side here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of CLC, and we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
Tomorrow, it's a special holiday edition of the NFL as we bring you a Turkey Day triple header. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew for all the action. First, the Detroit Lions host the Chicago Bears. Then the Las Vegas Raiders take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. And finally, on Thanksgiving night, the Buffalo Bills head to New Orleans to take on the Saints. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One.
Happy Thanksgiving from all of us at 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at noon.
Hi, I'm Adrito Thoy from Alder Avenue Middle School. Here in South Jersey, 1 in 6 kids will go to bed hungry tonight.
This is William Hedrick. We have partnered with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey since 2013 to support neighbors in need.
Hi, I'm Hannah Lee. Our National Junior Honor Society is holding a food drive for our school. If you have a student or neighbor who goes to Alder, please ask how you can help.
Hi, I'm Karina. All donations benefit the Community Food Bank of New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Tyler. To get your school involved in Students Change Hunger, go to studentschangehunger.org.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, let's do some business here. We'll wrap up the show. Real quick, text on the text board at 609-403-0973. Text time says, Josh, a great interview with Andy McNamara. I want to know, Brian Edwards' goose egg this past Sunday, is it a fluke or is it a symptom of the Rangers' more large-scale struggles? Listen, man, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody out there. I think the Raiders have a real problem offensively. And until I see them actually turn around, I believe you can't trust them. That's why, when I'm looking at that game tomorrow, listen, I understand that a lot of people right now, there's a lot of public money running over to that plus 7.5. I think this is a smelly game. I think the Cowboys at home, national television, I wouldn't be surprised their defense gets after them. It seems like Derek Carr is not himself. And you know what? To me, one of the best values in that game tomorrow, Dalton Schultz to score a touchdown at plus 115. That's the thing that makes the most sense with that game tomorrow. So I don't even know if I would touch Brian Edwards. If you have a chance to get somebody else on the waiver wire or somebody and put Brian Edwards on your bench, that's what I would do, man. And of course, don't forget, you can get on all the action all holiday season long at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, right off the boardwalk. The retail sportsbook is conveniently located, so you can go in and live stream games, video, food and beverage, self-service betting kiosks, and more. Get on all the games you want at the FanDuel Sportsbook, right off the boardwalk inside Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Yeah, I love the Dalton Schultz to score a touchdown tomorrow. The other thing I really like, because remember, the Bills are in New Orleans, and considering they just gave Taysom Hill all that money, I kind of like Taysom Hill to score a touchdown tomorrow night. I really do. And remember, Adam Troutman is not even supposed to play at all. Taysom Hill is plus 360 to score a touchdown. So those are the things I like on the NFL side tomorrow. Some couple prop bets for you. And then I mentioned the Egg Bowl. I think the Egg Bowl is going to be awesome. Give me the over 64.5. I feel like Mike Leach versus Lane Kiffin is just fireworks. 7:30 tomorrow night. I might watch that instead of the NFL game. All right, I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'll catch you Friday.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
He has to buy it. He's got a breakaway and a two-hand stop right down the lane.
The Sixers are in Cali to face the Warriors. Coverage begins at 10 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, I'm Andy,